think we need to get into who it was.
Why?
Because she's married to Mr. Jackson.
Well, was she at the time? Is this for real, y'all?
Yeah. Well,
none of this is relevant. Whatever is happening between Ms. Bumpus, Mr. Jackson, has nothing to do with the guilt or innocence.
Unfortunately, the bias of a witness, well, fortunately, or I strike that. It is not fortunate or unfortunate, except for the fact that it is dragging this case on even longer. But a witness's bias towards a party may always be shown.
If she isn't, if she
Don't
isn't,
talk at the same time.
Caleb Bumpus is not a party to this incident. Caleb.
Yes, but if she's married to one of the parties, then that might qualify.
The reason I make this motion, Your Honor, is yesterday it came up that she had not been, that she had been following the case. The court asked me to not pursue that. I'm not.
Come up that she had been following the case. It came up that she knew that somebody had mentioned her on Twitter.
Okay, and your opinion would have been different if she was following the case? Because,
No, if you know that she was following the case, that doesn't exclude her as a witness. You can let the jury know that.
okay, because
You can ask her that.
I can ask her about her following the case?
Sure, and we'll see what she says.
Okay.
And if that's so, then it still doesn't exclude her testimony. It just lets the jury know, well, she may know some of this other stuff from listening to some other witness.
Okay, because what I would like to get into, and we may as well bring it up now before the jury is here, is that she got into an altercation out in the hallway with Kayla Bumpus.
Why is that relevant to the guilt or innocence?
I'm about to go there, Your Honor.
Okay.
Just let me finish a second. She got into it because she was watching Kayla Bumpus's YouTube feed about this case, and Kayla Bumpus apparently called her.
Okay, you may get into whether she has been tracking this case.
Mm-hmm.
You may not get into whether she got into a dispute with somebody about their posts.
It gets into her bias against these defendants, Your Honor. It goes directly to it.
What are you proposing to ask?
I'm proposing to ask if she told Kayla Bumpus in the hallway that that was the last time she was going to call her a hoe. It goes direct.
I'm sorry, the last time who was going to call?
Sorry for the pronouns. That Kayla Bumpus was going to call investigator Viverito.
Do we need to get into who it was, or just that somebody?
I think we need to get into who it was.
Why?
Because she's married to Mr. Jackson.
Well, was she at the time? Is this for real, y'all?
Yeah. Well,
none of this is relevant. Whatever is happening between Ms. Bumpus, Mr. Jackson, has nothing to do with the guilt or innocence.
Unfortunately, the bias of a witness, well, fortunately, or I strike that. It is not fortunate or unfortunate, except for the fact that it is dragging this case on even longer. But a witness's bias towards a party may always be shown.
If she isn't,
Don't talk at the same time.
Caleb Bumpus is not a party to this incident. Caleb.
Yes, but if she's married to one of the parties, then that might qualify.
If I just heard, I don't know. I'm not the proponent of this evidence. I'm hearing Mr. Weinstein out, but my silence should not be viewed as acquiescence that I believe this should be admitted. I need to hear what Mr. Weinstein's saying because I may have an objection myself.
What I'm saying is that if there is a relationship between Ms. Bumpus and the defendant, then investigator Viverito's bias against that.
Against being called a bad name?
No. If she is in an altercation with someone that's in a relationship with the defendant, I think, and especially if it is a threat, because
How is that a threat?
That's the last time you're going to call me a hoe? I mean, I've had clients arrested for less.
You may ask.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No, I'm not finished with my sentence. You may ask if she is following the case and has been following the case in any kind of manner. But it's really only relevant if she listened to the testimony of a witness. So you could ask that. But if she's just looking at And I don't even know if she was looking at. Maybe somebody told her. So why don't we get her in here and find all of that out outside the presence of the jury before we go into something that ends up being a bunch of nothing?
Well, that's why I wanted to bring it up when the jury wasn't here, Your Honor.
So can we also bring up before we go into the side searches, the fact that Ms. Bumpus represented Mr. Copeland, we thought to open up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think saying who this is before we find out anything, I mean, do we know whether, we don't even know whether she's actually married to him or if she was married to him at the time or if Miss Viverito knows that, or if it was because of any kind of bias against Mr. Stillwell, or just that she doesn't like being called that name.
Well, and no one would, Your Honor, obviously. But if she is in an altercation with someone in a relationship.
What do you mean by altercation?
A verbal altercation.
Okay. I mean,
You know,
a
if there's-
verbal, that's
if
the
there-
last time you're going to call me that?
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
That's the last time you're going to call me that? That's not exactly an altercation. Is that,
Okay.
is that all you've got?
That's all I have.
Okay, that's it. I think that this is 403 material.
There we go. One for the stick.
Hoisted on my own petard, Your Honor.
Correct. All right, let's get the witness back in and the jury back in.